to record it. Okay, so now we are recording it. Okay, so what I was telling you that the polynomial function which we have used to define the geometry, that is x and y, the same polynomial function we are using to define the displacement, that is u and v. So where u is the displacement in x direction and v is the displacement in y direction. Okay, so now usually what we do is we solve equation one by one. So if you solve the equation of x and y by solving by putting the boundary conditions and all, so you can get the value of a0, a1 and a2. Similarly, we can get a3, a4 and a5. After solving, we can easily write the value of x as n1 x1, n2 x2 and n3 x3. And in the similar way, we can write the value of y as n1 y1, n2 y2 and n3 y3. Now here n1, n2, n3, they are the shape functions. In this particular element, the shape functions are very easy to find. So you can just remember that n1 is nothing but your xi, n2 is nothing but your eta, and n3. So basically we know an equation that the sum of shape functions, that is n1, n2, n3, it will be always 1. So we can use that particular technique and you can calculate the value of n3 as 1 minus xi minus eta. Now how this thing is working? So if you substitute the value, if you plot the variation of shape function of n1, so here you can see I have drawn the xi axis, here I have drawn the eta axis, and here I have drawn the triangular element. So if I substitute the value of xi if I substitute the value of xi and eta in n1, so n1 is nothing but your xi. So at node 1, the value of xi is always 1. So remember here the value of xi x is 1 and here the value of eta is 1. So here you can see the n1 value is nothing but xi. So xi value over here it is 1. The xi value over here it is 0 and xi value over here it is 0. So if you plot the variation, so this is 1. So it is shown in red color. You can see this is the variation. So this kind of variation we have already seen earlier also when we have gone for the constant triangular element. So now we will be requiring a derivative of this n1 with xi as well as with eta. So if you go for a derivation of n1 with xi, you will get 1. But if you go for derivation of if you go for derivation of n1 with eta, it will be always 0. Now similarly, we can go for the plotting of the shape function n2. So n2, the value of n2 is nothing but xi. So here, if you substitute the value of xi at each and every corner of or each and every node, so you can find the value of xi at node 1 is 0. The value of xi at node 2, it is 1. And the value of xi at the third node, it is 0. So you can get a variation which is like this, where the shape function value is 1 at node number 2 and the shape function values are 0 at node number 1 and at node number 3. So again we will be requiring a derivative of n2 with xi and eta. So the derivative of n2 with xi will be 0 and derivative of n2 with eta will be always 1. So similarly, you can have the variation of n3 also. So n3 is 1 minus xi minus eta. So at the third node, the value of xi and eta both are 0. Okay. So this will be always 1. And at the first node and at the second node, the value of xi at the first node, it is 1. So your n3 value will be 1 minus 0. So n3 value at this particular node will be 0. Similarly, at this node also, if you substitute the value of xi and eta, so at the second node, the value of xi is 0, but eta value is 1. So because of that, you are going to get the n3 value at second node as 0. So here you can see the variation of shape function n3 is like this. So the value, its value is 1 at node number 3, but its value is 0 at node number 1 and at node number 2. So we'll be requiring a derivative of this also in the future. So if you go for a derivative of this expression, that is n3 with xi, so you are going to get minus 1. And if you go for derivative of n3 with eta, you are going to get the minus 1. Okay. So it's very simple to understand. So let us try to generate the stiffness matrix for this. So before going for the stiffness matrix, we have to calculate what is the strain displacement matrix, because it will be required. and in order to generate the strain displacement matrix, we have to generate the strains. Okay. So here you can see I have written a expression of displacement of geometry that x is n1 x1 plus n2 x2 plus n3 x3, and y will be n1 y1, n2 y2, and n3 y3. So this particular expression, I can rewrite this in a matrix form, that is x and y is n1 n2 n3 multiplied by x1 x2 x3, and your y is nothing but n1 n2 n3 multiplied with y1 y2 and y3. So the same pattern we can also use for the displacement also. So U can be calculated as N1, N2, N3 multiplied by U1, U2, U3, and V can be calculated as N1, N2, N3 multiplied by V1, V2, and V3. So now let us try to find out what is the strain. So in 2D problem, we have basic three strain component, that is strain in X direction, strain in Y direction, and the shear strain, that is epsilon X, epsilon Y, and gamma XY. So in general, you can calculate strain in x direction as du by dx, strain in y direction as dv by dy, and the shear strain is du by dy plus dv by dx. So let us concentrate on the strain in x direction. So epsilon x, that is strain in x direction, now can be calculated as simple du by dx. So now the u function is basically u is basically n1 n2 n3 multiplied by u1 u2 u3. So basically n1 u1, n2 u2, n3 u3, but we want to have a derivative of u with x. But here if you see the value of n1 n2 n3, they are in terms of xi and eta, so we cannot directly go for the derivative of u with x. So what we can do is we can go with du by dx. Now it can be replaced by del u by del xi multiplied by del xi by dx, and here eta will also come into picture because this is a 2D problem, and your u is n1 u1, n2 u2, n3 u3. So n1 is basically your xi, but your n2 is nothing but your eta, whereas your n3 is 1 minus xi minus eta, both the terms are there. So in this particular case also we have to go for du by dx. It will be replaced by du by d eta multiplied by d eta by dx. So now we will have two components. Similarly, we can also calculate the strain in y direction as dv by dy. So we cannot go for derivative of v with y. So dv by dy now can be replaced by dv by d eta multiplied by dv by d xi multiplied by d xi by d del y plus dv by d eta multiplied by del eta by dy. So now this expressions, expression A and expression B, they can be written in a matrix form where we can write epsilon x or epsilon y, or you can write du by dx or dv by dy. It can be written as d xi by dx, here d eta by dx, and whereas here d xi by dy and d eta by dy. This will be multiplied with du by d xi, dv by d xi, du by d eta, and dv by d eta. So if you multiply this, you are going to get the same expression, that is expression A, and we can get the expression B. Now this strain now will be having two components, one is this matrix and one is this matrix. So let us call this particular matrix as inverse of Jacobian matrix. Okay, and as far as this element is concerned, now we have four terms: du by d xi, dv by d xi, du by d eta, and dv by d eta. So let us one by one try to calculate the values. So let us calculate first du by d xi. So which is a term which is written over here. So this is the first term that is in the first row and first column, du by d xi. So your du by d xi can be written as, we know that u is nothing but n1 u1, n2 u2, and n3 u3. So we can write this as d by d xi of n1 into u1, d by d xi of n2 into u2, and d by d xi of n3 into u3. So while calculating n1, n2, n3, we have also calculated their derivatives with respect to xi and with respect to eta. So if you remember, the value of n1 is xi. So d by d xi of xi will be 1. So that's why you'll find there is a 1 over here. The n2 value is nothing but eta. So d by d xi of eta will be 0. And your n3 value is nothing but 1 minus xi minus eta. So xi and eta will be gone, only minus xi will remaining. So d by d xi of minus xi comes out to be minus 1. So du by d xi will become now u1 minus u3. So similarly, we can have a derivative of u with eta also. So du by d eta is nothing but your u is nothing but n1 u1 n2 u2 n3 u3. So we can write this as d by d eta of n1 into u1, d by d eta of n2 into u2, and d by d eta of n3 into u3. So we have already calculated the derivative of n1, n2, n3 with respect to eta earlier. So the n1 value is xi, so its derivative with eta will be 0. N2 value is eta, so its derivative with respect to eta will be 1, and your n3 value is 1 minus xi minus eta. So if you go for its derivative with eta, it comes out to be minus 1. So finally your du by d eta will become minus u2, u2 minus u3. So here we have now calculated the first term as well as the second term. Okay, now we have to go for these two terms. So for this we can have the du by dv by d eta and dv by d xi. So both the term can be calculated in the similar fashion, and we can get the dv by d eta as minus v1 minus dv by d eta is v1 minus v3, and dv by d eta will be v2 minus v3. So now our expression C, which is over here, which is having three values or four values over here in this particular matrix. So this entire matrix will now take shape that epsilon x, epsilon y will be nothing but the inverse of Jacobian matrix, okay, multiplied by, here you will have u1 minus u2, u2 minus u3, and here you have v1 minus v3 and v2 minus v3, like this. So now we have to calculate the second part, that is the inverse of Jacobian matrix. So if you refer the earlier equation, you will find this much portion is your inverse of the Jacobian matrix, that is d xi by dx, d xi by dy, and d eta by dx and d eta by dy. So all these value we can write over here. So your Jacobian matrix is d xi by dx, d xi by dy, d eta by dx, and d eta by dy. But we don't have an expression of xi in terms of x, but we do have the expression of x in terms of xi and in terms of eta. So in place of going for derivative of dx, d xi by dx, we can go exactly reverse of that, that is dx of dx by d xi. So I can write the Jacobian matrix as now dx by d xi and dx by d eta, and here you have dy by d eta and dy by d xi and dy by d eta. So like this we can generate the Jacobian matrix, which is exactly the inverse of that, but while going for the inverse we'll be requiring the determinant matrix as well. So let us calculate the elements one by one. So the first term over here is dx by d xi. So dx by d xi can be written as your x is nothing but n1 x1, n2 x2, n3 x3. So we can rewrite this. So d by d xi of n1 we have already calculated as 1, d by d xi of n2 is 0, and d by d xi of n3 is minus 1. So your dx by d xi will take shape of x1 minus x3. Similarly, we can calculate the second term, that is dx by d eta. So dx by d eta, your x value is n1 x1, n2 x2, n3 x3. So we can go for a derivative of that with respect to eta, and d by d eta of n1 becomes 0, d by d eta of n2 becomes 1, and d by d eta of n3 becomes minus 1. So as a result of this, we are going to get dx by d eta as x2 minus x3. Here we have got x1 minus x3. So similarly, the other terms, that is the terms of y, that is dx by d xi and dy by d eta, they can be calculated, and you will find the dy by d xi is y1 minus y3, whereas dy by d eta is y2 minus y3. So finally your J matrix, which is over here, dx by d xi, dx by d eta, dy by d xi, dy by d eta, now they will be replaced by simple expression x1 minus x3, x2 minus x3, here y1 minus y3 and y2 minus y3. So now we are using a simple notation which we have used earlier in the CST. There we have used the b1 term as y2 minus y3, b2 term as y3 minus y1, and b3 term as y1 minus y2. Similarly, C1 is x2 minus x3, C2 is x1 minus x3, and C3 is x2 minus x1. So if you use this term, we are going to get the Jacobian matrix J matrix as C2 here minus B2, here this will be minus C1, and here this will be B1. So the inverse of this matrix will be required over during the calculation part. So the inverse of J matrix is nothing but 1 upon determinant of J into the rearrangement of this term. So your B1 term will go over here, okay, and your C2 term will go over here, whereas these two terms they will be converted into its negative component. So this we have already seen at second year level. So your J matrix is nothing but this B2, B1 minus B1 B2 C1 C2, and it has to be multiplied by determinant of J. Now this determinant of J is nothing but the twice the area of the triangle. So this also we have seen earlier. So now our basic expression, it was like this. Uh, yeah, our strain expression epsilon x and epsilon y, it was nothing but J transpose, or sorry, J inverse multiplied by this particular matrix. So both the matrix we have solved, and finally we are going to get the strain component as 1 upon determinant of J B1 B2 C1 C2, and here you have now U1 minus U2, V1 minus V2, U2 minus U3, V2 minus V3, and so on. So now if you want to calculate the epsilon x component, so epsilon x component will be B1 into this term and B2 into this term. So if you solve this, you are going to get a larger expression in terms of U1, U2, and U3. And here B1, B2, B3, the values I have written in terms of their difference of coordinates. So B1 I have written as y2 minus y3, then y2 b2 I have written as y3 minus y1, and b2 I have written as minus of y3 minus y1. So now if you solve this particular components, you just take out y1 y2 y3 common, and u1 u2 u3 outside. So finally you are going to get the epsilon x value as b1 b2 b3 multiplied by u1 u2 u3, which is exactly same as what we have seen earlier when we have gone for the constant strain triangular element. So you can go for epsilon y also. So epsilon y is nothing but this term multiplied by this term. So if you go for the components, so you are going to get the strain in y direction, that is dv by dy as 1 by determinant of J into C1, C2, and C3. So similarly, we can also get the value of shear strain also. So shear strain is nothing but du by dy plus dv by dx. So we can rewrite the terms which we have calculated over here and over here in form of a matrix. So this is that matrix. So your epsilon x is nothing but b1 into u1 plus 0 times this one. I think I have written wrongly over here. This should be u1 v1, u2 v2, u3 v3. Okay. So accordingly, you are going to get this as b1 into u1 plus b2 into u2 plus b3 into u3. So like this, now we can get the matrix over here. So this particular matrix, that is B1, C1, all those things, this particular matrix is called as your strain displacement matrix, which is generally denoted by notation B. And this will be multiplied with your delta matrix. Okay, so delta is your displacement matrix. So now let us calculate the stiffness matrix. So stiffness matrix K elemental is nothing but integration over the volume B transpose into D into B over dV. So here B transpose D and B all are constant values. So if you see the B matrix, so this is your B matrix. So your B matrix is nothing but your so-called constant values B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. All those values, they are constant. So we can take out B value outside, and D matrix is nothing but your stress strain matrix. So it is also constant. So we can take it out, and finally we can get the K elemental as B transpose into D into B, and then integration over the volume into dV. So volume, if you integrate over dV, you are going to get ultimately the value of volume. So volume is generally defined as thickness into the area of the triangle. So here, if you go for the integration, so you are ultimately going to get the area of the triangle. So your K elemental will be now B transpose into D into B into the volume part. Okay, so this is how the stiffness matrix is generated for the two-dimensional element, that is the triangular element. But this we are using the natural coordinate system in place of your artificial coordinate system. Okay, so this is just the derivation part, and I hope you have understood this. Is it any problem over here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So we'll just quickly go through the solution part. Okay, so again I have created one Excel sheet. You are already familiar with this Excel sheet. So let us take a problem. So let me just increase the font so that you can see it properly. Uh, so we have, let us say, the modulus of elasticity as 2 into 10 to the power 5, the Poisson's ratio as 0.25, and let us say the thickness is 9 mm. Let us change it to 10 mm just for sake of example. So whether it is plane stress or plane strain or axisymmetric case, depending on that your D matrix is going to change. So in this particular case I have considered the plane stress case. So we already know the value of D matrix over here. So in the D matrix this is 1 and this is mu, this is mu, this is 1, this is, these are 0, and this is 1 minus 2 by 1 minus mu by 2, and there is one constant over here. So directly we can get the value of D. Here I have chosen an element which looks like this. The first node has got coordinate 0, 0. The second node has got coordinate 100 and 50, and the third node has got coordinate 0 and 50. So now with the help of this, now we can directly get the Jacobian matrix, because Jacobian matrix we have just now seen it is just the difference of two values. So now if you see the formula over here, so we can see the formula. It says the first value is nothing but your x1 minus x3. So if you refer the notes, you will find it is x1 minus x3, which is the term, first term over here. Similarly, the second term is basically your y1 minus y3, and here this is nothing but your x2 minus x3, and the fourth term will be y2 minus y3. Okay, so accordingly you will get the J matrix, and then we can get the determinant of J matrix. So determinant of J matrix is this into this minus this into this. So this is going to give you the twice the area of the triangle. So twice the area of the triangle is coming out to be 500. So we can get the inverse of Jacobian matrix. It is nothing but 1 by determinant of J into this term will remain same over here. This term will this term will go over here, and this term will go over here, and both the terms will be swapped over here. So accordingly the inverse of Jacobian matrix can be calculated. Then B matrix can be calculated. So B matrix is nothing but V1, V2, V3, and these values, they are nothing but your zero values. And here you have C1, C2, and C3, and these values, they will be simply zero values. And this will be C1, V1, this will be C2, V2, and this will be C3 and V3. So we already know what are the V1, V2, and V3, and so on. Here there will be 1 by determinant of J. It is common over here. So this has been already taken care in this particular problem. So your B matrix is ready. So now once your B matrix is ready, you can go for the stiffness matrix calculation, wherein you can multiply D into B. So D we have already calculated over here. Okay. And B matrix we have already calculated over here. So D into B I can calculate, and then I can calculate B transpose into D into B. So this is simple matrix multiplication, and there will be a constant which is coming out. And finally, you have a stiffness matrix of size 3 by 3, size 6 by 6, because at every node we have 2 degree of freedom. There are 3 nodes. So ultimately, you are going to get a symmetric stiffness matrix K for a 3 noded 2-dimensional triangular element. Okay. So rest of the procedure is exactly similar for the further calculations. Once the K matrix elemental matrix is generated, we have to go for the K matrix for other elements also, and then we can generate the assembly of these matrices so that we can get the K global, and the loading part will remain same, and the solution part will remain same, and finally we can solve this and we can get the solution. Okay, so there is slight difference. Okay, only thing is J component is new, and determinant of J is going to give you the twice the area of the triangle. Rest of the process is exactly similar. Okay, so any questions till now? Yes, any questions please?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so we'll take some small problems. I'm just taking the problems which are already covered in the book. Okay, so let me go back to the PDF file. So this is a book by Dr. P.N. Godbole. This is example number 6.3. Okay, and this is your page number is 153. Okay, so in this particular problem, what is asked? So this is a triangular element. Okay, so we can see this triangular element is basically having three nodes. Node number 1 is having coordinate 1 and 1. Node number 2 is having coordinate 6 and 3, and node number 3 is having coordinate 4 and 5. Okay, and there is a inside there is a P node which is given, and what problem says the triangular element shown in the Cartesian coordinate system, which is given in figure 6.3, an interior point P has a value of shape function n1, n2, n3. So n1, n2, n3 values are given. Now we have to find out x and y. So that means we have to find out what is the value of x and y, or what are the coordinates at point number P, and the value of n1, n2, n3 are given to you. Okay, so just now we have seen the value of x can be calculated as the x1 as n1 x1, n2 x2, n3 x3. Okay, so n1, n2, n3 values are already given, that is 0.2, 0.3 and 0.5. So n1 values are given, and x1, x2, x3. So these are the coordinates of point number 1, point number 2 and point number 3. So all we have to do is just substitute the value of n1, n2, n3 and x1, x2, x3 in this, so that we can get the nodal coordinates of point P. What is x? So x comes out to be 4 and your y comes out to be 3.6. So it's a very simple short numerical. The second part of the numerical says evaluate the shape functions n1, n2, n3 at the interior point with the Cartesian system 4 and 3. So this is exactly the reverse of the problem. So in the earlier problem, the n1, n2, n3 values are given. So, and from that we have to calculate x and y. But now in this case, the x and y are given. We have to calculate what is n1, n2 and n3. So now what we can do is in the second part, we know that x1 is n1, sorry, the x is nothing but n1 x1 plus n2 x2 and n3 and x3. But we know the value of n1. So n1 are nothing but your shape functions. So n1 value is nothing but your xi, n2 value is eta, and n3 value is 1 minus xi minus eta. So what I am going to do is I am just substituting the values of n1, n2, n3, and then I am taking out the constants outside, that is xi and eta I am taking out. So here you will find xi is common to x1 and xi is common to x3 also. So this xi I am taking out, so that now you have expression x as x1 minus x3 into xi plus x2 minus x3 into eta plus x3. Now similarly I can go with the expression of y also. So y can be calculated as y1 minus y3 into xi plus y2 minus y3 into eta plus y3. The same way I have gone for x also. Okay, so now if you see the x value, so x value is x1 minus x3. We already know the nodal coordinates over here, isn't it? So x1 minus x3, no sorry, we don't have the nodal coordinates, so we have to go for the calculations. Okay, so we have to just substitute the values of x1 and x3, x1, x2, x3 over here. So these values are x1 is given, so x1 is 1 over here, x2 is 6, and x3 is nothing but your 4. So these values are given over here. So we can substitute this value. So after substituting this value, we are going to get the value of x1 in terms of xi and eta. So this is one expression. So x is nothing but this into this. Similarly, we can get an expression for y also. So y will be now in terms of xi and eta. Okay. So it will be nothing but 1 minus 5 into xi and 3 minus 5 into eta plus 5. So now in the numerical, what is given to you? The value of x and y is given. So we want to calculate what is the value of shape function at point P, where P value, the P has got coordinate 4 and 3. So in this particular problem, the value of x and y is given. So x is nothing but your 4 and your y is nothing but your 3. So if you substitute the values of x as 4 over here and y as 3 over here, you are going to get one expression, that is minus 3 into xi plus 2 times eta equals to 0. And another expression over here, 4 times xi plus 2 times eta equals to 2. So now we have this equation, which is equation 1, which is written over here. There is another equation which is written over here, equation number 2. So both the equations, they are in terms of xi and eta. We can easily solve both the equation in terms of xi and eta, and finally we can get the value of xi as 2 by 7 and eta as 3 by 7. So this is what is asked, that is what is the shape function n1, n2 and n3. So n1 value is nothing but your xi. So your n1 is nothing but your xi. So this is 2 by 7. Your n2 is nothing but your eta, that is nothing but 3 by 7. Whereas your n3 is what? You know that n1 plus n2 plus n3 is always 1. So we can go as n3 as 1 minus xi minus eta. So it comes out to be 2 by 7. So this is how we can solve the second portion of the problem. Okay? I hope you have understood this. Any questions? Anybody, please? Any questions, please? Shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, coming to the second solved problem which is given in the book. So we have to find out what is the Jacobian matrix J, determinant and its inverse. So this I have already explained while derivation. So in the derivation you will find the J value is nothing but C2 minus B2 minus C1 and B1. So the values, what is C2, what is C1, what is B1, what is B2, we already know that the C1 is x3 minus x2. Okay, C2 is x1 minus x3, B1 is y2 minus y3, and B2 is y3 minus y1. So we are referring to the same problem which we have seen earlier. So the values we are going to use in the same equation, same numerical over here. So we are just substituting the values of x1, x2, y1, y2, and we can get the value of J. So this completes the first problem, that is what is the J matrix. And if you want to calculate the determinant of J, so we can easily calculate using simple mathematics, and then we can get the determinant of J. So determinant of J is nothing but twice the area of the triangle. So it comes out to be 14. So the area of the triangle comes out to be 7. And the inverse of J, it's pretty simple. If you know the value of J, so the 2 value which is written over here, it will come in the 1 1 location. This minus 3 will come over here, that is 2 2 location. This 4 value which is negative, so it will be converted to positive, which will be coming over here. And this is 2 value, so 2 value will become now over here as minus 2. And of course there is a 1 by determinant of J, so 1 by 14 will come outside. Okay, so it's a very simple numerical. And the last numerical is to calculate the B matrix. So B matrix we already know, it is calculated as B2, B1 0, B2 0, B3 0. This is 0 C1, 0 C2, 0 C3, and then C1 B1, C2 B2, C3 and B3. We already have calculated B1 B2 B3 C1 C2 C3 by taking the difference of the coordinates, and coordinates are already known. So accordingly we can easily get the value of B1. And after B1 you can generate easily the value of K matrix, that is the stiffness matrix, and then we can proceed ahead with the numerical part. So rest of the problem is exactly similar, only thing is the approach is different. Earlier we have used the Cartesian coordinate system, but this time we are using the natural coordinate system. Okay, so this is up to here I am covering the syllabus. Numerical part I am not covering because numerical part are exactly same. So it's nothing but a waste of time. So you can just solve couple of numericals the numericals which we have solved earlier using the Cartesian coordinate system, you can try to solve the same numericals using the natural coordinate system. Your stiffness matrix is going to remain same, it is not going to change. So you can try plane stress case, you can try plane strain case, or even you can try your axisymmetric case as well. Okay, so in the coming classes we'll go for the rectangular element. Okay, so now can you just turn on your microphone and we can share some doubts. If you have any, please let me know. Yes.
Sir, can you please share the soft copy of textbook?
Entire textbook is not available with me, so it is really
No,
difficult for.
the numerical that you have shown us today.
Yeah, that I have already shared on the WhatsApp. This
I have
entire
file.
PDF I have already shared.
Yes sir, है वो फाइल में.
Anything else?
सर ये
सर वो जो
कौन बोल रहा है? One by one you speak.
बोल ले
सर
कृष्णा
जो के एलिमेंटल का एक्सप्रेशन है ना, बी ट्रांसपोज डी बी,
हाँ,
हर्ष.
सर बाद में क्या है सर उसके?
उसमें बी ट्रांसपोज इंटू डी इंटू बी, उसके बाद आएगा थिकनेस और उसके बाद आएगा डेल्टा, दैट इज द एरिया ऑफ द ट्राइंगल.
ओके, मत टी है ना सर उसके बाद में?
हाँ, थिकनेस है, थिकनेस है.
ओके, थैंक यू सर.
सर इसके ऑप्शन में सर
उसमें गलती से 2 डेल्टा हुआ है. ओके.
हाँ सर.
हाँ, तो उसको जरा ध्यान रखना, वो एक्चुअली डेल्टा है.
सर क्वेश्चन पेपर पे कौन से प्लेस पे आता है सर ये, यानी इसके ऑप्शन में क्या आएगा सर?
सॉरी
सर फाइनल में आंसर में इसके ऑप्शन में क्या आता है सर, मतलब कौन से प्लेस पे रहता है ये?
अब बेटा ऐसा है कि फाइनल होने वाला है तुम्हारा ऑनलाइन, तो पुराना वाला पैटर्न तो भूल जाओ, नए क्वेश्चन आएंगे पूरे जो ऑनलाइन सॉल्व कर पाओगे.
ओके सर,
है ना?
ठीक है सर. ठीक है सर.
और कुछ? फिर भी पुराने वाले क्वेश्चन पेपर देख लो, मोर और लेस आगे पीछे ही आएगा.
ठीक है सर.
ठीक है. और कुछ?
सर और
सर
वो
टी3 होंगे या डायरेक्ट फाइनल होने वाला है?
T3 होने वाला है एंड T3 का टाइम टेबल आ गया है, मैं तुमको लोगों को बताने ही वाला था. जस्ट गिव मी अ मोमेंट, इट इज देयर ऑन माय सेल. ओके, just let me go through the email. ओके, मेरे ख्याल से 8 तारीख से तुम लोगों का शेड्यूल है एग्जाम का. ठीक है, डेली तुम्हारा एक पेपर होगा, मैं शेयर कर दूंगा तुम लोगों के साथ. ठीक है.
ठीक है सर.
T3 का टाइम टेबल कहाँ गया भाई? आई थिंक व्हाट्सएप पे है, पता नहीं, अभी आया था थोड़ी देर पहले. Yeah, it is on the WhatsApp, so just yeah, so your no, this is the older one, so I'll ask the DEC to change the dates. DEC has not changed the dates. Your exam will start on probably on 8th, so your T3 will be starting from 8th, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So these 6 days you will have an exam in the sequence something like foundation, then ACS, then pre-stress, then research methodology, then FEM, and lastly your DERS. Okay.
सर अब अभी जैसे T2 जिस फॉर्म में हुई थी सेम फॉर्म में होगी या ऑनलाइन, आप यानी जैसा बोल रहे थे
ऑनलाइन ही होगा, लेकिन वो सब तुमको टीचर बता देंगे कैसे होगा क्या होगा करके. ठीक है, सो डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट.
ठीक है सर.
ठीक है. हाँ, और कुछ?
सर सर सर
हाँ,
बोलना
बोलो ना.
सर एक चीज था, एक्सिस सिमेट्रिक का अगर केस आएगा अगर इसमें, तो 2 पाई आर एवरेज रहेगा कि उधर?
सॉरी
सर अगर एक्सिस सिमेट्रिक का केस है तो टी के जगह 2 पाई आर एवरेज रहेगा क्या वहाँ पे?
हाँ हाँ, करेक्ट करेक्ट.
मतलब सेम रहेगा जो 2D में अपन ने किया
यस
वही
यस
रहेगा?
यस यस यस, एग्जैक्टली सेम.
ओके सर.
इसलिए बोलता हूँ एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करके देख लो, आइडिया आ जाएगा तुम लोगों को. ठीक है, अगर डाउट आता है तो जस्ट गिव मी अ कॉल.
ठीक है सर.
ओके.
Yes, sir.
हाँ सर. सर पेपर इजी रहेगा ना सर?
हाँ,
पेपर इजी रहेंगे ना सर थोड़े?
नहीं पेपर बिल्कुल इजी नहीं रहेगा.
ठीक है सर.
ठीक है. और कुछ?
नहीं सर. सर वो शारदा मैम से लास्ट टाइम कांटेक्ट नहीं हो पा रहा था, तो सर ये T3 के बारे में ही पूछना था मैम से भी. T3
मेरी
का.
2-3 दिन पहले बात हुई थी, वो एक क्लास लेने वाली है तुम लोगों की.
ठीक है सर.
और इवन शायद पाटपुर सर भी कल क्लास लेने वाले हैं, कल मुझे बोल रहे थे, तो वो शायद ग्रुप में डालेंगे, तो ग्रुप में थोड़ा देख लेना. ठीक है.
ठीक है सर. ठीक.
ठीक है. और कुछ?
नहीं सर. ठीक है.
ठीक है. ओके. सो एवरीवन
Thank
लेट मी नो, अगर कुछ डाउट होगा तो जस्ट प्लीज लेट मी नो. इसका पूरा मैंने रिकॉर्ड करके रखा है, मैं यूट्यूब पे डाल दूंगा, सो दैट यू
ठीक
कैन
है.
रेफर इट आफ्टरवर्ड्स. ओके.
श्योर सर.
ठीक है. चलो, गुड नाइट.
थैंक यू सर.
गुड डे. गुड डे. ओके.
गुड डे सर.